Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Akakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from and well. Be salutations to the 144,000 and the rest of the 1/3, the large multitude. Unto you I say shalom. Coming to you back with another lesson through the Spirit. And the title for this was going to be, This Truth is Bitter and Sweet. Because when you first find out that you're an Israelite, when you come into your true heritage of who you really are, you know, it's sweet. It's sweet in the mouth. But as you progress in this truth and you keep growing and finding out, you know, the dark sayings, the dark secrets, you know, the secrets are revealed onto his prophets, you know, the prophets of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. It comes with that bitter. Because this truth isn't just about finding out you're an Israelite like these other camps. You know, they push out that prosperity doctrine. You know, they push out that there's not going to be a Jacob's trouble. There's not going to be a martial law. There's not going to be an hour of temptation. And they push out all these false doctrines, you know, about what being an Israelite is really about. Because ultimately, when you come into this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of you being an Israelite, it's about serving Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You know, pushing out his word, pushing out the 100% truth, you know, in truth and sincerity without any guile, like these other Israelite camps do. You know, they push out all these false doctrines, pushing that you could build a life here in America, pushing that there's not going to be any Jacob's trouble or any martial law, pushing that Babylon the Great, America, is going to continue on forever. You know, pushing out all these different lies that aren't true. You know, and ultimately what they're avoiding the bitter. They're just pushing out the sweet. You know, pushing out that there's going to be a kingdom of heaven established on the planet Earth, but not telling their congregation, their flock, of what's going to come before all that. And ultimately it's Jacob's trouble, you know, martial law, civil war, the hour of temptation, the implementation of the MOTB, the micro CHIP. They're not pushing out all these things because that's bitter. You know, it comes with all the hell you got to catch, you know, your family members turning against you for believing, you know, in the truth and following Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You know, you get fired from jobs, you lose your women, you know, your car might break down on you, and that's all part of the hell you got to catch. That's part of the bitter. But these other Israelite camps, you know, all they push out is the sweet. You know, they push out that there's no trouble that's going to come with finding out you're an Israelite. You know, that it's all going to be a smooth road. It's not going to be a roller coaster. But no, this truth is sweet, but it's also bitter. You know, it's a balance. So I'm going to get this first scripture. This is Revelation chapter 10 and verse 9. And I went unto the angel and said unto him, Give me the little book. And he said unto me, Take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. Verse 10, And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, it made my belly. Eating it, my belly was bitter. And ultimately that's going into this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. That book represents the Bible, because ultimately when you digest, you know, the 100% truth, you know, the 100% doctrine of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, of what coming into this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is really about, it's bitter. You know, yeah, it's sweet when you first come in, but as you progress, you grow, you go through your trials and tribulations, you find out that it's not all sweet. It's not all glitz and glamour like these other congregations, these Christian, these anti-Hamashiach churches, you know, these Roman Catholic churches push out. You know, because ultimately all they push out is sweet prosperity, you know, everything's going to be okay. But no, when you find out about the 100% truth, all the prophecies, all the hell that you're going to have to catch, the persecution, your family members turning against you, your so-called friends that you used to have in the world coming against you, betraying you, turning you into Esau, Edom, and the different authorities. That's all part of the bitter. But that's something that most Israelites don't want to go through. And that's why they join these other Israelite camps. They watch these other congregations, because what the great millstone, starting with the apostles and elders on down, have pushed out is that there's a balance in this truth. Yeah, it's sweet, but it's also bitter. You also got to endure all the hell you're gonna have to go through, during Jacob's trouble, during the hour of temptation, during the mass implementation of the MOTB. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 18. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. So as you progress in this truth, you grow in the faith, you grow in the fear of the Lord, you grow in the wisdom. It's going to increase the sorrow, because ultimately you find out that you may have to lose your life for this truth. You may have to lose your family members. You're going to have to lose jobs. You're going to have to lose cars. You're going to have to lose women. Ultimately, all for this truth's sake. But that's what's going to come. You're going to have to make those sacrifices for Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And that's something that most Israelites, the 2/3, aren't willing to give up. They rather stay in a world and be comfortable, but ultimately when it's all said and done, when Yahushua returns like a thief in the night, they're gonna get caught off guard, because ultimately they thought that life here in Babylon, the great America, and throughout the four corners of the earth, they're gonna think that life was just about being comfortable, everything is gonna be okay. But no, destruction is coming to this world, mass death. And that's something that most of our people aren't willing to process, because it comes with a sorrowful spirit. You gotta constantly meditate of what's about to come. All hell breaking loose at any given moment, especially now in today's age, 2025. This is Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse 1. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that thou findest, eat this roll, and go speak unto the house of Israel. Verse 2, so I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. Verse 3, and he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee. Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey, as sweetness. And ultimately that's going into this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, this truth. That roll represents this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. When you first eat it, it's sweet, but as you progress, it gets bitter when it hits your belly, when you really start the process about what this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding really is about. We're already being persecuted, but how much more when we're made, the Israelites are made a public enemy. What are you gonna do when your face gets put on the news? When your face ends up on a billboard, when you have that most wanted sign, a lot of Israelites are gonna fall out, because they weren't ready for that bitterness. They weren't ready, to get hit with the bitter. This is Ezekiel chapter 2 and verse 8. But thou, son of man, hear what I say unto thee. Be not thou rebellious like that rebellious house. Open thy mouth and eat that I give thee. Verse 9, and when I looked, behold, an hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll of a book was therein. Verse 10, and he spread it before me, and it was written with and without, and there was written therein lamentations and mourning and woe. So this is what this, the Bible is about. Is about lamentations, mourning, and woe. And that word woe means destruction. But that's something that they don't teach in these different Israelite camps, in these different congregations, these anti-Hamashiach churches, these harlot houses, these Roman Catholic churches. They don't teach the lamentations, the mourning and woe. All they teach is prosperity. They teach that everything is going to be okay, that there's not going to be any Jacob's trouble, there's not going to be a ICBMs. They teach that there's no hell, that everybody's going to be in the kingdom of heaven, and they're teaching all these false lies. But ultimately, that's going to come with a harsh punishment, because they're taking out of the book and adding their in. They're not teaching their congregation about what being in this truth, what the Bible really is speaking of. There's good things in the Bible, but there's also lamentations, mourning and woe, destruction. And that's mainly what the prophecies consist of. The prophets were always sent out, to prophesy against the kingdom before it fell. And that's currently what's going on right now you got the prophets out in the street corners throughout the four corners of the earth, prophesying the destruction of this current rulership ran by this devil Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed white man. So I'm gonna get this last one. This is Matthew chapter 10 and verse 22. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, and he that endureth to the end shall be saved. And that's ultimately what comes with being in this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You're going to be hated by all manners of men. You're going to be hated by your family. You're going to be hated by your so-called friends that you used to have in the world. You're going to be hated by your co-workers, ultimately because they see that you have the spirit of Yahweh Shai in you. And ultimately, the servant isn't greater than the master. Back 2,000 years ago, they hated Yahweh Shai because he prophesied against the Roman kingdom, the Roman Empire, and the Jews, they didn't like that was bitter unto them. They wanted for their prosperity to continue, just like our people do today. They don't want to hear the bitter. They want to hear smooth words. They want to hear that America, Babylon the Great, is going to continue on forever. But no, this place, is going to be utterly destroyed. And that's bitter, and that's something only the elect are going to be able to process. But the rest of our people, they're not going to be able to process that bitter. Ultimately, they're going to continue to eat themselves to death with that sweetness. They're going to get diabetes and die. They're going to get cancer and die because they weren't balancing themselves out with that bitter. But that's pretty much the point. I pray that this is edifying to the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone, who are learning this truth from in the rule well. Be satisfied to the 144,000, the rest of the 1/3, the large multitude. Unto you I say shalom.